Hey, this is Dylan from Full of Hell and Sightless Pit, and you're watching Thrill Jockey's Deep Digs. The first record I picked out today is the album Plastic Anniversary from a band called Matmos. Matmos is a band that currently resides in Baltimore, which is also the home of Stout. Shout out to Stout. And to put it simply, Matmos is fucking awesome. The creativity is pretty unrivaled in my head. I just love this album in particular that Thrill Jockey put out. It was made entirely by sampling plastic, which I find very creative and interesting. This album's like really relaxing and weirdly invigorating at the same time. It's like a good record I put on to just do work or print t-shirts, whatever around the house. The more rhythmic tracks, they make me feel like really productive, and the title track is super relaxing. So this record kind of feels really diverse considering that it's all made from plastic. I have a huge appreciation when an artist is able to just dive really deeply into something that's like really specific, and on this record, just the fact that they only relied on plastic, I just think that's really interesting. Their use of samples is just really inspirational to me, and I love that they can take the smallest sounds you can imagine, even like the sound of freshly cut hair or a plastic tube, and they can just expand it into something greater than the origin point. This record, overall, it's just a really inspirational vibe to me, and I love it. The second record I've chosen for the Deep Digs is the excellent Across the Field from House and Land.
There's cake and wine for you, my dear. Come eat and drink your welcome.
House and Land is a duo from North Carolina. I grew up with really cool parents. We listened to a lot of punk, but we listened to even more bluegrass and folk. So that music's always kind of been with me, in one way or another. House and Land kind of reinterpret old Appalachian and Ozark songs in kind of a modern sort of way. And I feel like that really beautifully carries the tradition of folk music in general, because it's such a oral tradition in some ways. I think it's cool when the music evolves, in really tasteful ways. I think songs like this are really timeless, and they're meant to kind of shift over time. And Sarah and Sally are really good at adding subtle new elements to the songs, while kind of keeping the original spirit of the music, intact. And it just feels kind of contained in the right way. And I hadn't personally heard of House and Land until this album came out on Thrill Jockey, so I was so stoked to discover them, and to know like a band like mine that's so extreme is somehow distantly connected, through a record label. This is a really special record to me. I feel like if you have any interest in bluegrass or folk music, this is a record that you really need to check out. All kinds of cool instruments on it, and it's just a really special album. The last record I'm going to talk about today is a little bit more in my own lane, and a bit of more of a personal journey for me. It's the band ENDON, and it's their album Boy Meets Girl. The first time we ever saw ENDON was kind of like under really cool circumstances. Daymare Records booked us a show in Tokyo with Merzbow and ENDON. That still kind of blows my mind that we were able to do that. And I was just really excited for the show, and I was really excited to play with Merzbow. And I knew ENDON was something special, but I really had no idea what I was in for. They were basically louder than us and Merzbow, and way fucking crazier. It was just a really crazy show. Overall, I was just completely devastated by the set, and I remember thinking to myself that like this had to be the end point of all extreme music. It was just so insane. As a vocalist, Tai Chi is exactly the kind of vocalist I want to see in an extreme band. He's like a totally unhinged, like psychopathic animal, kind of all over the place, and at times it almost seems like he's freestyling, which I love, almost like noisecore vibes in the vocals. So watching ENDON is kind of like getting hit with a swarm of bees when you've dosed really heavily on LSD. Alright, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching Deep Digs. Sightless Pit's debut record, Grave of a Dog, is out now on Thrill Jockey Records. Buy it so my buddy Lee can afford more Grateful Dead tattoos, and seriously, go listen to ENDON.